Thank you to Basilisk for giving us 10 subbies as we are getting ready. Ryung is here, Trigger is here. It's obviously a late night for them, but they knew that when we set this up and they said it's okay. This is apparently the time that they always play video games. This is when the Korean ladder is perhaps the most active. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., all the way to 4 a.m. Apparently over in Korea they do like to play the video games. This is a fun one. Honestly, no idea what to expect. I think I favor Trigger a little bit. I do think that Trigger is very good at the moment. But obviously, Ryung is not to be underestimated. Could be a preview for a match that we see in the WTL Codas playoffs. Historically, it's very close between these two. 8-8, 3-2 in series in favor of our Canadian Protoss. A league like sometimes works, and then like you type it in and you think it's down, but then if you try again, it works. I have this pretty often too. Yep, always ready. Alright, a second series of the night. We have 3 series tonight that were all very worthy of being a main event. Future against Su, Trigger against Ryung, and Vanya against Uthermal. I've seen a lot of Protoss games today, so I'm actually kind of excited for some TVZs coming up soon. But first, I'm gonna take a look at this one. What a day, guys. What a day it's been. What a series. I bet Coco is buzzing. And I hope that my boy Lino is okay. I always knew I was going to be happiness for one, heartbreak for the other. I do think it was a fun series. And I think that's all that matters in the end. Let's go ahead and do it. Second series of the night.
Let's get it on. Round 1. Fight.
In the top left side, we are looking at the main base of an absolute veteran of the Starcraft scene, a Korean Terran that's been around since the dawn of days, representing Vitality, that used to of course be on-site gaming. This is Ryung, the MVP of the playoffs of WTL Codas last summer. In the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of the man that we already saw earlier today with a 1-1 score over Nikic, but I do believe PVT, no ping involved, and we're actually going to see a very strong version of this man, representing Basilisk. It is Trigger. It is once more PVT, but I do think it's safe to say that this PVT is going to look very, very different than the previous one. Ryung can fix his rally points, and Trigger is a very aggressive boy, loves the Blink Stalker openings, is going to be in the face of Ryung non-stop. It should be fun. We had a all-Korean Big Brain Bouts like 5 weeks ago. I think it was BBB number 61, where we had 6 Koreans, Olivera and Raynor, when Raynor was over in Korea. But yeah, normally for regular editions, I do ask them, but most of the time they just say like, ah, it's too late, but Trigger was full of confidence that Ryung would be down, and he was. Reaper Fast Expand is going to be the first opening for Ryung, and we will take it from there. Trigger trying to be annoying, delaying this command center by a second or two. I'm expecting a lot of Twilight Council opening here, quick blink, and just an aggressive version of Trigger to show up. Overall, it was a happy day, even if those 3 points did not come easily. In the end, it is very nice that at least Trigger won on Dynasty. Otherwise, it would have all been for nothing, guys. Scarlet has definitely played in the BBB a few times. I actually asked her quite a few times as well, but eventually Scarlet obviously just wasn't that motivated to play. But I know she played Gerald once, and she beat Gerald 3-0. She looked amazing in those games. I'm sure that she's played 1 or 2 other times as well, but I definitely remember a main event versus Gerald. Thank you, Dave Matey, for all the love, the biddies, the 5 buckies. I appreciate it. And hello, Nate. 4 days, Nate. 4 days. And then the Stormgate. Next Friday, BBB Stormgate. No. Not ready for that, guys. But definitely exciting times. First Marine is gonna get picked off by the Adept. The Adept shades back. Ryung opening up. Maybe with the classic Ryung? Is there a world where he builds another barracks? No, probably not, right? Because I think if you want... Yeah, he is. So this is the build that Ryung found so much success with at IM Katowice. I believe it was 2022. He was legit one of the first high-level Terrans to do that in a tournament like Kato. Gonna give him a lot of bio. Obviously, very late medevacs, very late Vikings or Liberators, but it will allow him to make some very powerful pushes. We could have impromptu Stormgate show match after EWC. Yeah, I think before the Esports World Cup, you're not gonna see any casting from me when it comes to Stormgate. But I will obviously play, guys. I'm going to be I will be playing on Tuesday. I'll be playing on Wednesday. We have the Tasteless LAN party coming up, and Tasteless will allow anybody to like restream his stream as well. So it will definitely be worth it to just hang out and watch a couple of those games, learn together. And maybe after we come back from the Esports World Cup, we can see. We can organize some things as well. But we still have the WTL Code S finals coming up. Those will be coming up at the very end of August. Basically, the final weekend of August are the WTL Code S finals, and that's obviously a very important weekend. And then the weekend after that, we have the tournament in Bulgaria. So, pretty busy times. But I'm sure we'll find a little window somewhere to do something fun, either community focused or with some pro gamers, semi-pro gamers, I don't know. Like, who's a pro gamer in Stormgate, right? I feel like only time will tell. But I'm sure there will be a lot of familiar names high up on the ladder. Thank you, Sir Crisis, for the 5 months. Yes, Trigger is Observer is going to see the first move out of Ryung. It's a Cyclone and it's a lot of bio units. Trigger is going to have to move out with the Blinky boys. Obviously try to shave off a couple of units and just buy some time. Lost track of the army. It's always very, very scary when you lose track of the Terran army. If you know it's out there, but you don't really know where it is, Trigger is now going to take a sneak peek down this ramp, and that's where he's going to see it. Ryung could stim forward if he wants to, and that's exactly what he's going to do. We have a shield battery, going to use shield battery overcharge immediately. Great call. Maybe Ryung should have ran towards the natural. That does obviously mean that you commit with all your units, but I think committing, if you're going to get on top of a robo and 16 probes, is not that bad. Chasing Stalkers to an overcharge battery is most of the time not really going to give you a lot. Trigger seems to be very unhappy with his shield battery in his natural. Or in his third base rather. Block the mining, so he has to kill it. It is definitely the goal, Jeff Bezos. We've got a bronze medal, we've got a silver medal. I want another medal this time around. And I want the color that we don't have yet. I already get nervous when I think of that weekend. Even if the Esports World Cup is obviously so big, and it's one that I really look forward to. But WTL Code S playoffs are very special. Especially when you're invested. Ryung has unloaded a few Marines and Marauders in the bottom side of the map. He's going to be able to get a very quick cancel on this fourth base. I hope Trigger is going to cancel it, and yes, he will. Two armies are flirting with each other in the center of the map as well. Solid forward blink. Trigger grabs a couple of extra units for free. 7 minutes in. I'd say it's relatively even. I don't think Trigger is unhappy, but he's very Stalker heavy. He's got 2 Colossus. It's not quite the army that he can run to the other side of the map with. Good hallucinated Phoenix Scout here, as he will confirm that the medevacs is still there. Plenty of map vision, by the way. Hallucinated Phoenix on the other side of the map. Observer on the center right side. Adept in the dead center. We've got a pylon near the rocks. It's all looking pretty solid. Knowing that these medevacs are here is obviously awesome, but it's also annoying because you're very focused on them. But you can't leave too much supply babysitting these medevacs, because that may make it very difficult to be safe elsewhere. We don't mind fire at the Adept, I think. Trigger has an observer right above his natural, but is going to see this quad drop relatively late. But his main army is close though. Very good job with the pro pull. That was very early, and I think he's going to be fine. Careful with your workers. Widow mines could get devastating shots off, but they just don't fire. Those Widow mines have just not fired. The Marauders and Marines are battling. I don't think the Colossus should ever die here. It's an annoying drop, but that is kind of what it is. In the end, Traeger is okay. Ryung, of course, is able to macro very freely like this on the other side of the map. Perhaps Trigger is okay with that because he is a 4-base Protoss after all, and he knows that Ryung is not a 4-base Terran. Seems like Ryung is gonna sync up with all his forces. He's got double eBay, +2 attack on the way, +1 as Trigger is gonna get 2 more robos. Perhaps feeling that it's going to be hard for him to spend his money with just 8 gates and 1 robo. Trigger's actually just spent so much money on the production. Templar Archive, second forge, 2 more robos. Ryung should unload. Those manufacts that I mentioned earlier is still here. It'd really be worth it to warp in High Temple. I think Feedback might be able to reach at least one of them. Feedback range is pretty large. "10 minutes into Oceanborn for the second best of 5, and it seems like we've got another macro game on our hands. 5 more pylons on the way, and that is going to prevent Trigger from ever being supply blocked again, at least for a very long time. Till he loses a bunch of pylons. Ryung has just been waiting, trying to make his army a bit more powerful. I think he is experienced enough to know that just Marines and Marauders are not really going to do it against triple Colossus, Sentry, and Immortal. Immediate reinforcements. You're gonna need something a bit better. Vikings, Ghosts, etc. Trigger even going up to 5 bases here. Ryung has made his way down that ramp. He has taken out the rocks. The storm is not quite done yet, but fighting this army near battery overcharge is hard. The double drop that Trigger has been guarding for like 5 minutes is finally here, and it's actually still going to be very annoying. 3 zealots, not necessarily enough. We've got 4 more coming in. That should be good enough. Temple Archives will be safe. Main army of Ryung is getting dangerously close to the army of Trigger. There are High Templars in the mix. They can't quite storm yet. I don't think Ryung's army is good enough here though, especially not near a battery overcharge. Oh, Ryung, this was not the fight. This was not the fight. That was a lot of high HP Protoss units, a lot of high tech units. I like the attempt there, but that was just that was not a fight that he could win. The Trigger may feel confident enough right now that it's his turn to make some magic happen on the other side of the map. We've got one High Templar that has no energy. The storm being done doesn't really do anything for us, but this is a pretty powerful army. If Ryung can land an EMP or 2 though on this army and have Marauders come in from sexy angles, anything is possible. It seems like we forced out a little recall. This drop has been around for so freaking long. It's been 6 minutes. +3 attack on the way, few more ghosts. We have 4 ghosts out at the moment, 3 more in production, 6 Vikings are on the battlefield. Is it still? No, it's double starport. Double reactor as well. Yeah, Ryung's got a good setup now. Looks better for Ryung. This observer has been here pretty much since minutes 5 or 6 in the game. And is once more going to be very, very useful for Trigger, who sees all these medevacs on the right side. And it does not seem that Ryung is aware of the fact there is an observer here. It's hard to see. Alright, throws down a scan. Can't kill it, but it's obviously a lot better than losing 4 medevacs. Excellent game sense there by the veteran. As these armies are close to each other, a couple storms will connect. Are these DTs or zealots? Just zealots. Dark Shrine not done yet. Making our first disruptors is Trigger, who's gone up to 11 Immortals, guys. Ryung obviously is pretty Marauder heavy. He's got 22 Marauders out on the map. This many Immortals is obviously pretty sick, but there are some moments where they can look silly. If Liberators make it to the battlefield and a couple of EMPs land on these Immortals, it can honestly be difficult to win a fight with that many. They're obviously pretty supply intense. Couple Stalkers are not going to win the fight against all these Marines, Marauders, and go solid EMPs as well by Ryung. As Ryung takes, I want to say, the best fight of this game so far. Going to get a very easy cancel on that base. Took out a couple of expensive units. Gets an observer there too. Trigger has done a full ring around the rosy over here in the top right side. Best merry-go-round ever. But can't quite get on top of the units. The drop! Unbelievable. At this point, guys, I had enough and I'm building a Stargate. Like, I'd be so done with this drop. The Trigger, his Stalkers are also done with it. Two players that are maxed out. +3 attack on the side of Ryung. But Trigger only has +1 armor for now. This could honestly be a pretty scary moment for Trigger. Might be worth to just temporarily disengage and wait until +2 armor is done. As Ryung is going to get on top of this Nexus once more. It's another cancel. He's doing a pretty good job. He's playing up his army. A little bit reckless here with the Vikings, though. Vikings are expensive, mate. We don't want to be losing them against a bunch of cannons. As a part of Trigger's army is going to show up. This is definitely not his entire army. Both players pretty rich. Storm and feedback. We have another big battle on the top right side. Is 5 or 6 Immortals and a single Colossus good enough against a bunch of Ghosts and a few Marauders? Apparently the answer is no. Generally, I'm a little bit surprised by, but Ryung wins another fight over here in the center right. May not have done that well at the bottom, but this seems to be his magic spotty, guys. These units deal bonus damage. This command center is not a planetary fortress yet. Enjoy Citran here. I'll be watching some television later tonight, guys. See if there are some highlights of the Olympics already. Ruined your odds on Ryung. I think Trigger is going to win the best of 5, mate. But Ryung is looking really good here in game 1. I'm feeling Trigger for the series, but I gotta say I'm definitely feeling the way that Ryung is playing this game 1. Sports are healthy, Mr. Pathogen. Nothing wrong with it. I recommend a long walk after the big brain bout. We are in range of a Sensitile now. Oh, what an EMP by Ryung. Ryung lands an EMP on 4 Templars. Incredibly sick Purification Nova as well. But look at this Terran army. Everywhere I look, Terran units are coming into this Protoss army. But there's also a few Zealots flanking the Terran flank. Who's flanking who? I don't really know. What I do know is that with an EMP that massive, it is Ryung who takes a very good fight. Now all Light Templars show up in the front line. We are going to spam some feedbacks and storms. And then it's going to push the Terran army back. Still a sick fight by Ryung, though. As Trigger has now lost almost 6,000 resources more in this game. That's oh, a little over 5. But that's still a lot. Our Canadian Protoss is going to try to get some value out of his Dark Shrine, as the man warped in not 1 or 2, but 12 DTs with Shadow Strike. The Liberators are flying over a Nexus in the top right side. This army by Trigger is honestly pretty weak. He needs to be careful. Even if the Storms are good and the Nova is good, the rest of the army is just so damn silly that I don't think it's great. I think he was using as a distraction maneuvers. Here are all those DTs blowing up 17 SCVs in the base. Now at the same time we are losing a Disruptor, a High Templar, maybe a Colossus in the center of the map. Man, what a game. Whew. I've already been watching 6 hours and 29 minutes of gaming, but these two guys are playing it like it's the first game of the day. The DTs say 1 base is not enough, we want to go for the double, and they do get the double. Maybe a recall trigger, because losing 12 Dark Templars is damn expensive though. Trigger says I don't care. Oh, he does recall, guys. I meant it a couple seconds earlier. But we still had like 10 of them, you know? And we could have ran them into the corner. But okay, happens to the best of us. Trigger is now all over the economy of Ryung, as he's now once more going to try his luck in the center base. That is a pretty strong planetary with a missile turret. We've got Liberators harassing mineral lines at the bottom side of the map. Ryung has a 40 army supply lead, and he's obviously going to take some good fights with all these Ghosts and these Marauders. Trigger really wants this planetary. He says, I'm going to get it, even if it's the last damn thing I do in this game. And he does get it. So now Ryung is a 4-base Terran. Still has his main. This is not a fight that Trigger can take yet. He's going to be forced to evacuate. saves a decent amount of the workers. He's gonna lose the Nexus though. Whoa, that's so many High Templars. What the hell? 11. We have a Stargate. One Stargate. Just to deal with these Liberators. Whew. A 19-minute game 1 of our second best of 5 of the night. How many ghosts are remaining? 5. We got 4 more on the way. 11 High Templars is so many. Both players used to be mega rich. Now I want to say their economy have taken a severe beating, but Trigger actually still looks pretty good based on this graph. Ryung accidentally lifted his orbital there, and because of that now his mules are taking the long way home. It's a little bit unfortunate. High Templars are dropping a couple of storms. Seems like we landed the feedback on the ghosts as well. 10 High Templars versus 8 ghosts. 6 Liberators with advanced ballistics. You have +2 as well, yeah. I think this game still looks good for Ryung. But obviously it kind of comes down to the next big fight. Thank you, All Lover? Or AL Lover? AI Lover? Who knows? Whatever you love, mate, I love you. Appreciate it. There's a couple of probes are going to get ready towards this bottom left side base. EMP lands. So Ryung thinks that this is a fight that he can take. DT's on the left side. We need a scan. Ryung throws down a scan almost immediately. High Templar I don't think can really connect. Drops a storm. Ryung still has a big army coming in from the right side as well. High Templar is landing a feedback. And these two are really trying to outmaneuver each other 24/7. Who is flanking who? Who is surrounding who? Trigger thinks that he's trapping this army of Ryung. Ryung, okay, that's a solid forward link. That's going to allow him to take care of those Liberators rather quickly. And he actually saves the base. A lot of army to kill there. For a split second, it looked like Ryung was close enough to drop some EMPs and go for it. Yeah, it is a banger. First time ever that we welcome Ryung to the Big Brain Bouts. And he's basically saying, Roddy, if you ever need a man to play video games at 2 AM, I'm here. Trigger has lost 8,000 resources more. That's gonna take a while, guys. Factory benefits from building armor as well, right? Phoenix deals 4 damage. How are the servers here? All Korea, mate. Because Trigger is in Korea. Bond Phoenix, yeah. Will the game end before that factory is dead? EMPs could land. EMPs. Oh, the EMPs will land on the High Templars. Couple of balls fly forward, but really damn good micro by Ryung so far. The final ball was the best connection on the side of Trigger. Am I casting this WTL today? I already did, mate. It's over. It was fun. Phoenix is gonna fly into the Terran army as Trigger focuses on this blink on the left side. Who is surrounding who once more? Who's getting the better engagement? 4 Archons in the mix. Only 5 ghosts remaining, but also only 3 High Templars remaining. Trigger seems to believe that his army is good enough here, but his army is a little bit clumped up going through the side blockers, and the EMPs just connect in such a massive way. And I don't think you can really continue there. He's playing for the draw. We have F2 the Phoenix. We should send a new Phoenix on a mission. Yeah, the Phoenix died over here. It flew into the Terran army as a flank. Few more ghosts on the production tab. Liberator count is at 4 as Ryung sets up a double drop, where a long time ago Trigger obviously had vision for all these drops. This game has become a little bit too chaotic for him to have vision now, so I think this double drop is a great call. That Nova does connect. Do we have a recall? Of course we do. Coco's recall is always available. Coco's recall, Coco's overcharge. You name it, Protoss has it. Trigger is definitely kind of rich. And he has been definitely been outmining Ryung for the vast majority of this game. But Ryung has been taking much better fights. Over 10,000. Resources lost more on the side of Trigger. This Trigger is gonna get on top of this command center. Do we get a cancel? Nope, that's a straight up kill. Couple of High Templars trailing behind. One gets EMP'd, the other one misses. Nova, wow, that didn't go off. That's crazy. Really looked like that Nova was gonna go off. His Trigger hits us with a big warp in, but it's Ryung who's sending a monstrous army. We could recall, guys. We could recall, but no longer, as a couple of EMPs have connected with the Nexus. Great job there by Ryung. So now Trigger goes for the emergency recall to at least save a couple of workers. One flanking High Templar, I don't think we were aware of it. It's a shame. And Ryung's army movement has just been so sexy. It's making this game absolute hell for Trigger. And Trigger is pretty good, I think, in general, in splitting up his forces and battling a bit here and there, but I think in that department, Ryung has been able to get the best of him, as we did have a storm land on a few of the buy units. But Trigger's just had the cleaner macro, and obviously the DTs did so much damage. Few more High Templars get warped in. 15 Zealots, 22 Stalkers, and 6 High Templars on the side of Trigger. As the Vikings are going to make their way through that Colossus. The rest of this Protoss army doesn't look that good. I don't see Disruptors. I don't see any High Templars, maybe one of them. But obviously we do have a lot of extra units coming in. Once more, it is both armies syncing up to meet somewhere in the middle. Vikings could land here, or they could go for that Colossus and then land. It just feels that Ryung, his bio units simply don't die. But here are the High Templars out of nowhere, and those storms will allow those units to die. Oh, it's the High Templars that really saved the day here for Trigger, as he lands a couple of key clutch storms towards the very end after 26 minutes of video gaming. And that will again allow our Canadian Protoss to get on top of this base, get on top of the Liberators, kill 18 SCVs. And is that then finally good enough? Whew! 2 or 3 High Templars to the rescue there. I did not see them at first. I don't even know where they came from. I don't know who they are. I don't know where they came from. But I know that Trigger loves them. We have some DTs now as well. I love it. Oh, look at this. Oh,
Denied.
Oh, that is a bloody shame for the yellow submarine, as the DT just moves underneath the orbital and all the mules cannot mine. Scan goes down with the Dark Tempo, will blink away. Ryung said it's personal between me and the DT. As he throws down a second scan, he does get it. There's one Zealot still on top of this base. Is there still hope for the Korean Terran? We have no more High Templars. To be fair, excuse me, we have no more Ghosts. But we also don't have that many High Templars, but there is no more hope. After 27 minutes, it is Trigger who takes the 1-0 lead, guys. Just the 1-0 lead in our second best of 5 of the night. Sick game. Honestly, very well played, I think, by both players. Trigger got himself in a really good spot. Ryung just kept on taking great fights and had excellent army movement. Throughout the game, Ryung traded better. Killed more units. It's just that Trigger was on point when it came to expanding, and obviously slowed down the Terran expanding a little with the DTs. Killed a decent amount of SCVs. Fun stuff. I wouldn't mind, Mark. You can play whatever you want. You can play Terran, you can play random, you can even pick Protoss. You are allowed to pick whatever you want. I would never put up any rules for you. You thought Ryung was a lot older? I was thinking in the beginning of the game, how old is Ryung? I assume he's like 34-ish? Is that correct? Like 33, 34? Because I don't think he's as old as me. But he's obviously been around since the very beginning of Starcraft. So, and he was young, but not like mega young. Fuck you, Goblin. I can find people. He's 33 in Korean age? Okay. So, it's not even that old yet. Still a youngster in my book. Game 2, guys. Side Delta, second best of 5 of the night. BASILISK Big Brain Bouts, 80 buckies for the winner, 20 buckies for the loser.
Round 2, fight!
In the top left side, our Korean Terran played an excellent game. Some beautiful fights, nice EMPs, great army movement. Unfortunately, it was not quite enough, but he did play damn well. It is Vitality's Ryung. And in the bottom right side, we are looking at the main base of our very own, the Canadian Protoss, who's currently in Korea, together with his amigos Clem, Future, and Australia. Future is playing up next. But first, it's time for him. Trigger. I don't think that people really overestimate, I think, how old Hydra was when Starcraft 2 first came out. I think people still have this idea that Hydra was the grandpa toss, and that at like Home Story Cup 2 when Hydra won, he was already like 43. It's like, no guys, he was like in his mid-20s. He really wasn't that old. Sure, he was older than a lot of us other kids, but if you hear the stories, you wouldn't know any better. And that Hydra actually won a Home Story Cup when he was in his 50s already. He's like, if he can do it, anybody can. It's like, he's like 43 right now, guys. He was 29 or 30, yeah. Not exactly mid or late 30s, right? Papara. Home Story Cup 2. Followed in the legendary footsteps of Damu, who won the very first ever Home Story Cup. Huck won the third, and I think MC the fourth, but that's basically when the Koreans started taking over. Huh? Ryung is going to hit us here with a good old 3-Rex. Earlier today, we had someone speak the magical words that I've never seen this strategy lose. It was when Cure was playing the 3-Rex against Classic. Didn't quite win with it immediately, but he did win after a solid 15 minutes of dropping, and we just contributed it to the 3-Rex. Trigger is forced to pull the probes. Ryung is very close to killing one of the probes, but Trigger's done a good job in finding it. He clicked it away. However, the Zealot and the Adept are finding some good success on the other side of the map, and this is very annoying, because if you're Ryung, you don't want to reveal all of it. And if you don't have a Cyclone showing up anytime soon, as the Reaper gets around it as well, I'm starting to be a little bit worried here for the young guys. Bad start for our Korean Terran, as he is forced to pull a couple of SCVs to the front. Does a good job in saving it, at least, but his command center is still not done. We cannot upgrade it into an Orbital yet. And I think with the next shade, Trigger will pretty much immediately know what he's playing against. You still don't see a factory, you don't see a Hellion, you don't see a Cyclone that's gonna come out. If you see nothing but Marines and SCVs were pulled, you kinda know what is up. And as the two Adepts and the Zealots are going to battle, one Adept will fall, the Zealot has been taken care of. 3-Rex is always scary to play against, but you don't really know that it's happening. And it's particularly scary when it surprises you. I don't think that was on purpose, by the way, letting that shade finish off. But if I'm Trigger, I immediately warp in a couple Stalkers. You start running them to the other side of the map. And even if you don't have high ground vision, you can just keep them here, and it's going to be so difficult for the young to ever move out. At this point, I would almost even say, you shoot it. I would like either a backup pylon or a shield battery here. Because letting your entire game rely on a single pylon is, I think, a little bit silly. I really want that to be true, Drolarius, but as much as I love Papara, I don't think that's quite the case. Apparently he did get top ace in Battle Aces. So Hydra still got it. 7,000 MMR in the Battle Aces. Trigger is gonna miss the move out, guys. Okay, remember what I said about that single pylon? Uh-oh. If Ryung kills this probe right now and then just YOLO stims, Trigger is out of position. Ryung doesn't know it. Oh, this could have been so big for him. He did not know. Whew. Imagine if Trigger would have just sent a probe here and he would have gone up to 3 bases here. All the bio units stand there, they run into the natural, they kill this pylon. We do have a backup pylon now, to be fair, but 3v3 melee Megaton lobby open, folks. Thank you, mate. Thank you for sharing that. Is it okay if I'm in like 3.5 hours? Can we do that? Got a couple games to cast, but as soon as I'm done, mate, I'll be there. I'm all over that lobby. Trigger has an observer that's going to give him high ground vision. This is very annoying for Ryung. Ryung needs that bunker because of his 3 racks opening. The man does not have any tanks. And dealing with this many stalkers when you don't have tanks is just a nightmare. There's a tiny run by, a 4 marine run by. That's apparently good enough to bait out a recall. Well, it may not be much, but it bought Ryung some much needed time for this bunker to finish up and maybe get some medevacs out. Marines and Marauders going to stim forward. These Stalkers are a little bit low on HP. One of them is going to get picked off. Other 3 make it safely into the War Prism. Obviously Trigger is having a good time this game, but his economy is not that massive. Great job by Ryung putting that Marauder into the bunker. Who's the oldest pro right now that's also still really good? You may actually be looking at him right now. I can't really think of anybody that finds the same amount of success as Ryung when it comes to being an MVP in the WTO Code S playoffs and obviously having good runs in many tournaments. I probably think it's Ryung, yeah. DRG is still very good as well, but I'd still give it more to Ryung than DRG. I thought you meant yourself. No, I don't consider myself a pro. As the War Prism of Trigger is just blindly clicked into the main base. Ryung is all over it, guns it down, War Prism dies, 2 Zealots inside of it die, and the last one got picked off as well. A little bit sloppy on the side of Trigger. I know it's been a long day for him. And perhaps the same can be said for Ryung. No, guys, I'm not a pro. Even though yesterday I did kind of peak on the ladder. I don't want to brag, so I'm not dropping any names. But back-to-back plus 47 MMR. Played 2 guys over 6k, I beat them both. So we still got it. But I'm absolutely not a pro. Someone like Ryung is so much better. Dongregu is so much better. I like to joke that Mana's old. Mana's not that old yet, but he's obviously still getting good results too. Was it Rainer? No, we beat Rainer all the time. That's not that special. Triple drop rather. No drip. Well, maybe the man has a lot of drip. He's gonna go into the main base. Trigger is kind of out of position. We already used Rico earlier, but apparently it's ready again because Rico is just always ready. 5 probes go down over all those. Very, very solid drop by Ryung. It's gonna buy a lot of time. What is happening with the Zealots? The Zealots are gonna get cleaned up too. Well, Trigger is starting to let go of this game a little. Lost his Robo-Bait to the drop as well. He's going to rebuild it immediately. Does not have extended thermal lens yet. Ryung is kind of the king of having perhaps underwhelming first 5-6 minutes of a TVP. He's like, yeah, but I can play incredibly well from behind. And then he shows us. 9 minutes into Side Delta, I may actually like his position here. His upgrades are not massive. But if he's just mining comfortably of 3 bases, then he's going to get a Ghost Academy. Trigger doesn't even have extended thermal lens yet. Has already lost 1 War Prism. There's still a Viking waiting here for the second.
Upgrade complete.
Ryung is playing really good. Good observing. Well, thank you, mate. I'll take that. A little compliment on the Friday night. Woo! There's a few Zealots do get dropped into the main base. We cannot recall this War Prism. I know recall is basically always, oh, friendly fire. There is a lot of friendly fire there. Good job by Trigger. You could really see he was right-clicking as well. He was aiming for that. There is nothing that sparks more joy in the heart of Protoss players than seeing Widow Mine hit kill Terran units. Is this drop worth it? Yeah, absolutely. Killing 9 SCVs, kind of keeping Ryung busy. Getting some time to get some extra robo units out. Your second robo +2. It was very solid. And somehow this War Prism lived, by the way. Killing workers is always better anyway. Like, that's what Zealots are literally for. But it's also about keeping your opponent busy. Well, Trigger didn't really have to do a whole lot there. Ryung obviously needs to take care of it. No, that was totally... Even if we lost the War Prism, I would have said it was okay-ish. But keeping the Prism alive, it is more than worth it. Coco actually had a bit of a banger series. No cap. I hope my boy Lino is alright. Perhaps a German beer or two, a solid cold Bavarian beer can make the pain go away. But it was a fun series. We've got 3 disruptors out on the map for Trigger, as that War Prism that somehow survived earlier is gonna sneak back into the natural once more. Ryung doesn't really have a sensor tower, and missile turret does see it very quick. There are some more zealots storming in. That Widowmine is gonna deal friendly fire as well to the SCVs. It's gonna make it even easier for these zealots to get on top of it. War Prism in the natural did get taken care of, so second Prism has gone down. Trigger has already wiped in a 6th base. It's pretty wild. Ryung throws down a scan in the main and he sees there is nothing there, so that drop from earlier is going to show up one more time. 2 Marines and a Marauder is going to work on the forge. The Marauder is doing a godly job in surviving, but in the end, Ryung is not going to get it. Ryung is, however, going to very casually get on top of this base. Trigger's main army is just derping around a little bit, not totally certain what he needs to go for. What he does have is DTs in the main base, in the natural, in the third, so he has killed 17 SCVs. Losing one of the 6 bases is obviously not that bad. He has found this army as well. I'd obviously say that this is better for Trigger than it is for Ryung. Ryung does have the 4th. Really use a couple turrets. I'm gonna drop one immediately. Trigger now back to 4 bases temporarily, but he's about to become a 6 base Protoss once more on 81 probes. It has not really been using the double forge consistently. Most of the time it's only one of the 2 forges spinning. He's now getting 7 cannons and 2 batteries apparently. Perhaps feels that he has dealt so much economic damage that all he needs to do is make sure he does not die. Those are fake Colossus, but it's a real disruptor. That's actually kind of cool. The fake Colossus to scout and the real disruptor waiting in this side blocker. Couple of big brain moves. Cute plays here throughout the best of 5. As Ryung is once more a maxed out Terran. Has got +3 attack on the way, +2 armor is about to finish up. It's got 146 army supply, but Trigger's army is better though, guys. 33 freaking Marauders. And how the hell are you gonna dodge Purification Novas with 33 Marauders? I don't know, perhaps Ryung is gonna show us the way. What we do know is that Ryung is once more gonna take out a base. Absolutely should take out a base. A little bit indecisive there, gets it in the end. Now thinking of flanking. Oh, you might be able to get on top of all the disruptors. Is that how you're gonna... Oh, what a shame. What a shame. Imagine if the Ghost goes forward and EMP Marauder stim forward. But Ryung could not have known. He didn't see it. And he did not get lucky there. Means the Trigger just kind of dodged a massive bullet. So we go for another hallucinated Colossus. He seems to be very fond of that play. DP's being a little bit annoying as Ryung forgets about a couple of units, loses 1 ghost. It is maybe going to be a little bit difficult for Trigger to win a fight convincingly when you're down 33 army supply. But he's so rich. He's going to be able to remake whatever unit he loses very, very easily. And as long as he deals a tiny bit of damage, he should always be okay. I really don't know about this army, but... it is something. A mega long, or not mega long, but a proper long first game on Oceanborn. Again, Grainer against Goblin today, that qualified as mega long. But a long first game between Ryung and Trigger, and game 2 so far already 16 minutes on the way as well. We got a fusion core going down. Oh, what a catch by Trigger as he blinks forward, guns down 2 Vikings immediately. He's very close to picking up the 3rd. He still has all these disruptors. Oh, but Ryung is gonna flank. He comes in from the top right. Trigger is just going to fire balls in every single angle, but Ryung has also come through the center, has done a very good job in avoiding these Novas. Not really a single Nova has connected. That was the best connection by far. That one is going to get cancelled, and Ryung takes an absolutely fantastic fight here in the center. A few Zealots are going to turn around to save these disruptors. Maybe it's cannons or batteries that can save it. As finally one disruptor is able to fire again, but what a fight by Ryung. Man. And now once again we're looking at a game, guys, where Trigger has already lost 7,000 resources more. But just like on Oceanborn, he is out-expanding his opponent. Disruptors are so bad. Said nobody ever, mate. If we land a sick EMP on DTs, doesn't mean that DTs are bad. Oh my goodness, Trigger is losing so much now. I know he's rich and all, guys, but he is losing some incredibly expensive units. He's losing a base in the center, he's losing a base in the top right. And right now, Trigger's army honestly kind of sucks. 878. 8 Zealots, 7 Stalkers, 8 Disruptors. Oh. It is Trigger with the better expense, the better worker production, and perhaps the better harassment. But it's Ryung who's taking far better big army engagements. These two are a really good match for one another. One is rich and the other one takes better fights. In game 1, the rich man won. How's it gonna end here in game 2? Obviously 2 or 3 good Novas is all it takes. And remember, guys, there's one guy in the chat who believes that disruptors are so bad. Keep that in mind before you guys start complaining about the disruptors soon. I don't know about this position though. This is so risky. He's gonna fire from far away. That's actually kind of good. But once more, Ryung is gonna come in from 3 different angles. The Novas are trying to do whatever the hell they can. And to be honest, these are much better connections than before. Some really good balls. As extra Zealots show up, Trigger got surrounded and somehow still gets out of there and takes a much better fight than he did earlier. Well, not bad for a terrible unit, guys. No idea where your opponent's army is at, where it's coming from, and still made the very best of it. Ryung is up in army supply. Ryung is still up in supply overall. There's 3 Marauders and a couple Ghosts. We'll start working on the Nexus in the bottom left side. We indeed have no Templar archives. I don't think we ever did. No. Ooh. Ghosts have a pretty hard time in general outrunning Purification Novas. As Ryung throws down a scan. Excellent scan again. That old man's got some game sense, eh? We have no Stargate? Nope. Don't know about leaving 10 supply there. Hey, don't shoot at your own disruptor. Observer placement pretty good right now in the center of the map. That may actually help Trigger to land some good Novas. He hasn't quite seen that army yet though. Oh my goodness. So many ghosts. Ghosts everywhere. So many ghosts coming in from different angles as the disruptors having a hard time connecting. Those final 2 Novas were good. In the end, Ryung is just going to run towards that base in the top right side once more. Has also unloaded these units in the top right. Oh my goodness, Trigger has lost 14,000 resources more. He's going to try to connect with a couple of Novas, but after 20 minutes, don't really see it happening anymore, guys. If we couldn't do it while we were a whole lot richer, how are we suddenly going to do it? Well, we can't really lose any units anymore. Planetary Fortress did a good job in softening up a lot of these DTs. Ryung throws down another scan, takes away some of that map vision of Trigger. I mean, these bases are gonna dry up soon as well. Trigger needs a fantastic fight. Anytime now. That is not a fantastic fight. And that is what we call a donation. I think Ryung's got it. 7 Disruptors, 1 Colossus, 14 DTs, and a Dream. Where are these DTs? These DTs are going for an adventure in the bottom left. Good job by Trigger trying to send a Nova early, hoping Ryung wasn't paying attention. But Ryung pretty much always is paying attention against the Novas. DTs, though, are going to do that thing on top of that Planetary. The Planetary will die. The Marines and Marauders will die. Uh-oh. that was not a very hot fight for Ryung, but Ryung is going to be able to clean up all the DTs in the end as he sent over his main army. And after 21 minutes, he is going to tie things up. Sweet baby Jesus. No 3-0s. 2 very long games. I'm going to go ahead and take a very tiny break, guys, because those were back-to-back very long, intense games. I'll tell the nerds that they can just continue immediately, but I just need to go grab myself some water. Take 2 minutes, and then we'll continue with our second best of 5 of the night. This has been a long day already, and we are not even halfway through the Big Brain Bouts yet. Stalkers should start in Blink, with Blink. I don't know about that. That might make Protoss a little bit too good, mate. Game 3. Crimson Court. We're all tied up. No 3-0s yet. We do like that.
Round 3. Fight.
Top right side, our Canadian Protoss representing Basilisk. He's over in Korea right now. It is a Trigger. And in the bottom left side, making an excellent debut so far. He's damn fun to watch, man, even though he's been around for so long. Always capable of giving us some absolute bangers. It is our Korean Terran player, Vitality Ryung. Do we make that? Oh my god. I don't think we made it, right? I think it died. That is very unfortunate for Trigger. It may seem silly to recall a probe, but somebody out there once upon a time crunched the numbers. And apparently it is better for your economy to recall a probe than just chrono boost at home. It's obviously not better for your economy if you try to recall the probe and then you still lose it. But nice attempt. Thank you, Haru Yusa, for the 41 months. I appreciate it, matey. This Trigger is once more going to open up with the Twilight Council. 2 long games between these two. Will it continue? Or are things going to speed up on Crimson Court? It's going to be a long night with back-to-back TVZs as well. Oh well. It's been a glorious Friday. I had high hopes for this Friday. It's absolutely delivering. It's a good start to the weekend, guys. Got some F1, got the Olympics, got WTL tomorrow and Sunday. Making some serious progress for our Twitch statue. I don't know how close we are, but we gotta be close after this month, right? Double Reaper hops into the main base, kills another probe. The Adept is low on HP, but it's not going to fall. Ryung is going for a bit of a jack of all trades opening. Some Reapers, a Hellion, and now a double Widowmine drop. I think Clem did this earlier today in the WTL against stats, and he found a lot of damage with it. Did you actually play in it, Bully? Yep, it's the final Grand Prix before the summer break. What is Megaton? I have no idea what 3v3 Megaton is. I love that you actually played. That's funny. Maybe Ryung was looking at the WTL match early today of Clem and he says, hey, pretty cool build. I think that Trigger was probably watching that as well because A, he's currently in the same place as Clem, and B, we had to play right after Team Liquid was done. So there's a good chance that Trigger saw it, that Ryung saw it. And both players apparently were... Oh, that is a risky pro pool. That is a very risky pro pool. And somehow we lose 5 and the Stalker. And how are the Reaper and the Hellions doing? Something. Good Widowmine drop though. Not the cleanest Widowmine defense there by Trigger. Well done by Ryung. GGG. No, I don't think that's quite GGG yet. We're going up to 3 bases. Like if we didn't even warp in the 3rd Nexus now yet, and we're then trying to find damage with the Stalkers, and we see the tanks are out, I'm like, okay, it looks really bad. But since Trigger has a very quick 3rd Nexus, I don't think it's that bad. It's a little painful, but it's not the end of the world. It's not GG, but Terran has advantage. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there is a lot of potential in the first real move out of Ryung. I mean, we saw Lino earlier, 80th. I don't know if you saw Lino against Coco. But that is the 2nd best Widowmine shot I've seen on this patch. Besides Gumio versus Nice on Oceanborn. That was the best. That was like 18 probes. I gotta say, Lino had a very good Widowmine as well. This is probably the third best Widowmine drop I've seen, and it's only 5. Which says a lot about the strength of Widowmine drops at the moment. I actually didn't know that Ryung managed to save one of these Widowmines. That definitely makes his opening even better. Because that is gonna force Trigger to keep some units behind. And always keep an eye on this medevac with the Widowmine inside of it. A low HP Raven is going to try to be a nuisance. Oh, shield battery not quite done yet. Double auto turret goes down. Will we go for the Raven? Yes. Do we kill it? Ah, oh, come on. Ah, okay.
One shot. One kill.
Final blink was good enough. Yeah, but that's mostly just because it became a lot easier, Pandora. It shows up on your... Like, medevacs are bigger on your minimap, which really helps. You get the notification, the red line. Like, you combine those 3 things. And yeah, of course, Protoss players are going to be a lot better in dealing with them. If the Widowmines were still the way they used to be, we would definitely see them be successful a bit more often. 5 Stalkers are perfectly in a line, which should make it easy to kite a little bit. But we know about that double drop, guys. Does Trigger have an answer for this double drop? We've got 2 Colossus out. I don't really see them yet. One of them is going to make its way. It's a solid drop, though, by Ryung. He's just playing a really sexy series. You really got to give it to him. Snipes one of the pylons, picks up these units, gets out of here. He's now going to start working on the rocks. That means that our Canadian Protoss is supply block. Uh-oh. So the splash radius got smaller. Protoss players now get a notification if a Widowmine drop is going to shoot. And on top of that there is a red line, and before that red line wasn't there. And medevacs are also way bigger on your minimap these days than they used to be. So it's basically a combination of 4 changes throughout time that have obviously made Widowmine drops a lot weaker and made it easier for Protoss players to deal with it. You still do gotta deal with it. But it's a lot more doable. Trigger is up in 9 workers, but I don't think he's very happy or comfortable with the position that he's currently in. Out of the 3 games, I would say this has been the best start for Ryung so far. This observer is awesome, but Ryung has been damn good throughout the best of 5 in spotting those observers. Hallucinated Phoenix is going to keep the double drop away from the main for now, but it's obviously still there and can always return. We still have this Widowmine drop. There's a lot of probes in the main, so if you do manage to drop your mine, has some good potential. War Prism picks up 4 Zealots. That Widowmine drop is gonna show up, but Trigger very quick to respond this time. Ooh, send them back so quick. Could have maybe been a retarget, but Ryung did not go for it. The game sense when it comes to the Vikings is excellent once more. Maybe this unit in the bottom right side spotted it. At least Trigger is going to be able to save 3 out of 4 Zealots, but the Prism dies. Gotta say, Ryung is just playing, I would say, overall slightly better in this best of 5. That doesn't mean that he is going to win game 3 easily or that he's going to win the series, but I do think 3 games in, 10 minutes into game 3, that Ryung has played a slightly better best of 5. Scan goes down, misses the observer though. Tanks need the siege. One disruptor from far away completely whiffs. Nice blink by Trigger as he guns down one of the Vikings. It's a pretty terrifying Protoss army, all things considered. For all the great things that Ryung has done, that's a lot of Zealots. Will the Zealots commit on the army? Nope, they're gonna go for the 3rd by the looks of it. What do we have here? Nothing. Okay. A couple of Marines. Nice EMP actually. Connects with like 6 Zealots. It really makes this a little bit easier for Ryung. Otherwise this would have been way harder. Still ends up losing 8 SCVs in total. Absolutely, Jester. Can't say we haven't seen any good games today. And to be fair, that's not always a given. I've had days where I've been live for 8-9 hours, or we watch an entire weekly, and it's very hard to find a highlight. Today almost the entire day is a highlight. As a Nova turns directions, it changes from direction towards the end, but it doesn't really connect. The tanks are injured, but they're still there, and that's actually pretty annoying. Trigger can't really mine up this base. This observer though is absolute cash money. This is the one observer that Ryung has not been able to see. Somehow barely misses this one too. Mate, this is so frustrating. The man has just scanned twice and has somehow missed both observers. As the stalkers blink. Okay, he does find the observer on the left. Oh, but he doesn't know about the drop. The four medevacs that all got full cargo flew past that observer, and 2 of them die almost immediately. The other 2 do manage to unload some units, but he's surprised that this is 14 probes going down. Trigger feels that it's his moment to finally take care of those tanks once and for all. It's this observer that obviously gave Trigger the heads up that this was a play that Ryung was making. Seeing 4 medevacs leave the center of the map. And I'm gonna play Marvel Rivals. I'm not planning on it, mate. But I'm sure it's fun. Colossus eats a Widowmine shot to the face, so loses its shields. But besides that, it's okay. +2 attack and +2 armor, almost finishing up for Ryung as he sets up another double drop. Yeah, strong 90 seconds or 2 minutes for Trigger now. Well, some potential for Ryung in the center with the drops, but Trigger had an answer for everything. The Ryung's army is definitely going to be a lot more powerful though once those 2 upgrades are done. We have 8 ghosts already on the map. Serious amount of ghosts. He's also managed to sneak a couple of units to the right side, lands an EMP, but the recall will still go off. Those units are still here, but they're being guarded by 5-6 stalkers and a few zealots. As this army has once more walked underneath the observer, that is incredibly risky for Ryung. Throws down a scan. We'll take care of it. Good job by Trigger keeping these disruptors right outside of the scan radius. Not sure what those 2 Marauders were up to, but they were up to something. Six cannons being warped in as we are 14 minutes into Crimson Court. Fusion Core is about to come online as well. This is a fantastic map to play some proper late game TVP. This time around, by the way, it seems like Trigger hasn't seen it, and it's 4 medevacs full of units. Ghost gets dropped, drops a single EMP on the Nexus, and Trigger says, F it, I am done, I don't have a recall, I don't want a recall. That is so many Marauders, by the way, on the right side, you gotta be really careful. Oh, a Nova! Nice micro. Excellent micro by Ryung, only loses a single Marauder to 2 of those Nova so far. Is this then an all-out base raid? As a couple of DTs have been warped in, we need to scan here, Trigger. Chimney Ryung, that's exactly what he does. And the Trigger is definitely the one with a lot more money. Ryung has temporarily evacuated. Trigger is going to lose his entire main. All of his production facilities are here. That's where the Robo Bay is as well. The Dark Shrine has a few more DTs. Are gonna get EMP'd. Good job by Ryung. I don't know if this is the kind of army, guys, that can really win. Don't forget about Liberators. Do we have any? No, we don't. I think you guys can forget about them, actually. Not a DT has to be scanned. That's like the second or third scan. The Orbital is gonna die in the natural. This is a pretty damn good Protoss army. How many Vikings do we have? 5. It is 8 Disruptors and 2 Colossus, as Trigger has a crazy amount of minerals in the bank, but how on earth is he ever going to spend it if he's losing every single production facility he has? Nexus in the center of the map is going to get EMP'd as well, so that's a few more probes dying, as Trigger has taken care of this planetary on the left. So Ryung is now a 1-base Terran. Trigger is basically a 1-base Protoss, as this is the only real base that he's got workers on. He's going to take the center. What on earth is happening today? Can we get a boring Starcraft game, guys? Is it possible? No energy on this Nexus, no recall available. Trigger thinks about running all the way home. And losing this one too, by the way, would absolutely be problematic. Seems like Trigger has brought some units. I guess we recalled into the natural. He's gonna save that base. A couple of EMPs landed on the Stalkers. Ryung is gonna try to micro his way all the way back to his army, but the units are stuck. He's gonna be forced to pick up, but he doesn't want to pick up. Oh, there is so much bio on the left side of these rocks, guys, but the rocks not being taken out is very painful here for Ryung. He is forced to take this fight. He does kill one Colossus. I don't think he's gonna get the second one, but it's very low in HP. So unfortunate for Ryung that the rocks were still up. He just couldn't go through. 106 army supply on the side of Trigger with some minerals in the bank. Again, 73 army supply for Ryung, who is down to 2 orbitals, 2 command centers. But yeah, they are not really in the right places. Oh, sad for Ryung. Very, very sad. He could not take the fight that he was looking for. Great crisis management, obviously, by Trigger as he now looks at his army and he says, I want a piece of that. As he fires the Novas, blinks forward, let the Zealots do their thing. And after 17 minutes, it's our Canadian Protoss who takes the 2-1 lead. Dustin Browder did it again. If it wasn't for Dustin, it could have very well been Ryung. If those armies sync up, there was definitely some potential there. Game 3 goes to Trigger as we get ready for Game 4. After this, we're gonna hop into Future versus Sue almost immediately. Rain has started it. I know. We actually had a couple of short games, you know. Team Liquid against Twisted Fairy, guys. Everything was relatively short, standard, straightforward. Trigger and Nikic already had a banger game on Golden Aura, to be fair. That was a pretty long one. It was a very good game. Second game on Dynasty was short. Reina Goblin on El Cyane was 16, 17 minutes, right? And then we had our 1 hour game. And that is what started the madness. We did have Yona show up very briefly. Very quickly. That was the most another day at the office best of 3 for Saro ever. Build a couple queens, build a couple drones, scouted, moved some units forward, got the job done, and he disappeared as quickly as he came. We had Coco and Lino going to distance. And now Trigger and Ryung playing a pretty memorable best of 5 where our Canadian Protoss has taken the 2-1 lead. Winner of this series gets $80, the loser gets 20.
Round 4. Fight!
Bottom left side of El Cyane. We are looking at the main base of our Canadian, 1 map away from getting another W on the Friday night. It's Basilisk Trigger. Top right side, honestly playing a really good series. My heart does sink for him a little because I feel like he deserves a tiny bit better than the 1-2 scoreline that we are currently looking at. He has taken some fantastic fights, displayed awesome army movement, landed some beautiful EMPs. It is Vitality Ryung. Andre with the 33 months, mate. It's mandatory, Andre. Hope you're doing good, mate. How are we feeling, Coco? Are we buzzing? Are we happy? Have we spent it all already, Coco? Don't spend it in one place. You gotta set the right standard for the youth out there. You're extremely happy. Winning is awesome, but winning when you're down 2-1 and you turn it around and it's close and it's chaotic, that's gotta feel even better. And I know that you were feeling nervous too. It's the best possible way to win. Oh, that makes me happy. I hope if Lino sees that, he gets over it quickly. It was a fun series. I mean, I like YBC Bully, but I know that YBC watches Coco all the time, and I don't think that Coco would have liked that. Like, Lino is in general too busy to really watch a whole lot of Twitch streams, and even though Lino knows Coco and knows her reputation, he doesn't know her anywhere near as well as YBC does. I feel like it wouldn't have been fun for Coco to play against someone that knows her so well. You're a bro, Chris. YB. Yes, it is off center for now, but obviously he can just lift it and he can move it. Reaper fast expand on the side of Ryung. Trigger's gonna open up with the Stalker, guys. I love it. I feel like I'm often the only Protoss in the Western Hemisphere that opens up with a Stalker against Terran. Very happy to see that I'm not totally the same. Can he get those hits off? Oh, yeah. Oh. Second Stalker is very late, though. But, I mean, that Reaper has committed now. The Reaper is dead if we play it well, obviously. Okay, it's a very healthy Reaper, but it should still be dead. There is no way out. Ryung does get the scout, so it's not a total disaster. And ideally, Terran players either want to keep their Reaper alive or at least kill a probe or two. Solid start by Trigger. Command center is still off location. Need to move it. Remove it. Ryung is gonna play 3 racks once more, guys. Just like he did on side Delta, it is another 3 racks opening, but this time it is with triple CC. On side Delta it was not with a triple CC, so this one is a little bit different. Trigger is a very good aggressive Protoss. It seems like we're just gonna go 2-gate, blink, robo, 3 base. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one for Ryung. I feel like it's gonna take a long time before Ryung can ever move out. He's not gonna have any real way to slow Trigger down. And Trigger has played a very macro-oriented opening himself. Indeed, the classic Trigger. We know that he loves this build. 2 gateways, a robo obviously for observers if we really need them, and Immortal if we desperately need some extra firepower. Just a couple of blinky boys to deflect Hellions, Reapers, Widow Mines, whatever. A Liberator. And an all-out macro. And this is going to be very nice for him, because I don't think Ryung is going to move out anytime soon. That is not how it works, Revolver. I promise you that, mate. It is obviously important that Trigger figures out what is happening on the other side of the map. Because the Stalkers don't need to be at home right now. The Stalkers need to be on the other side of the map. They need to be in the face of Ryung. Who are the top 5 current pros at the moment? If you want my top 5, I would say the big 4 from Europe and Maru. Perhaps a hot take, but that is really what I think it is. Zero, Clem, Rainer, Max Packs, Maru. If you don't want to count Max Packs, then you can replace him with either Hero or Dark. I think Dark is amazing. I just prefer the other 5. I mean, Dark is a god, guys. I'm a big Dark fan. But if top 5, there's only 5. There's so many good StarCraft 2 players out there. I would obviously never argue with anybody who puts Dark in the top 5 right now, because he has been looking damn good. He's the reigning GSL champ, yeah, but that doesn't mean that much. Max Pax is the reigning European weekly champ. Now we're talking real competition. Actually, it's Rainer. It was Max Pax the week before. I love Dark, guys. He's amazing, but I'd still pick the other 5. But if we're talking offline, then we can replace Max Pax with Dark. RoboBay is halfway done for our man Trigger. So obviously it's very, very important. I do like this. Ryung tried to do this on side Delta, and obviously side Delta was a bit awkward and he wasn't able to get a whole lot done, but it did force out a little recall. This is just so random that you don't really anticipate something like this if your name is Trigger. Ryung is going to set up a double drop into the main base while those 6 Marines, at the same time though, he's very, very vulnerable at home. It is just going to be chaos once more, guys. Ryung is on 61 SCVs, Trigger is on 59 probes, but a double drop in the main base is going to slap a few Marines in the third. They didn't really do a whole lot. Is there enough anti-air here to kill that orbital? Are we ever going to... Oh my god, he's going to walk into this? That is risky. We need a Guardian Shield. We don't have a Guardian Shield, so we go for a Force Field instead. It's a lot of Zealots, to be fair, and it's 3 Immortals in the mix as well, but most of the Stalkers have already died. That one bunker is going to be amazing. It's honestly very chaotic, but normally I don't like these scenarios that much for the Protoss. But can the Immortals live up to their name and truly be immortal? Nice target fire on the Marauders. In the end we go for a recall. We do lose everything besides 1 Immortal, and that means that we now have to clean this up. Our entire main base is on pilot, but Trigger has killed so many workers. Ryung has saved his Orbital, has killed them. Man, what the hell is this? As we are now going to unload a couple of Marines and Marauders in the corner. Ryung thought about going for that Colossus, as he's obviously just trying to keep him busy. This may not seem like a lot, but if this can get on top of an exposed base, we could very well be going to Game 5. Trigger loses the Colossus as well. All of his production facilities are unpowered. The man can't warp in anything. They are slowly coming back online, but at this point it's already a little bit too late. We have lost a few more probes. These Zealots will die one by one. 3 Marauders and 2 Medevacs is good enough. Trigger committed to the move out. Did not have to. And I guess what they used to say is still true. We never base trade a Terran. Unless we have a whole bunch of DTs with a Dark Shrine. Back-to-back Game 5s. Poor future Ensu, guys. So the fight bangers. Yeah, it's surprising that Trigger committed to the move out there. I don't think that was truly necessary. Obviously, well done by Ryung. Good job gunning down all the pylons, because Trigger definitely had money, and if he was able to spend that money, it probably would have either gone even better on the other side of the map, or it would have gone a lot better at home. But the power of unpowering some pylon, some gateways in a robo. This will work in Joe's favor. Is he the warrior of the night? I don't know. Sue strikes me as a proper Degen too. Even if he's a little old, but... How old is Sue? Is Sue as old as Ryung? Probably not, right? He has been around for a long time. He's only 31, actually. That's not that old. It's like mana age. The Game 5 between Trigger and Vitality Ryung will be played on Post-Youth. And that is historically a very good Terran map. Actually surprised that we let this one sneak in. What did we Vita? He also played Crimson Court. What the hell? Trigger loves Spain. In a single best of 5 he played Crimson Court and Post-Youth. What the hell did we veto? We played Side Delta. We played Oceanborn, right? What the hell did the man veto? No way he would veto Dynasty. Don't think he would ever veto Golden Aura. I'm confused. What else is left? I guess he vetoed Amphion? That makes some sense. The map can be annoying, especially if you don't want to play Stargate. So he vetoed Amphion and what? Ghost yeah, okay. Alright. We can live with that. Ghost River and Amphion. Sure, fair enough.
Final round. Fight!
So many good Terran maps, guys. It's hard to remember all of them. Especially when you've been yapping for 7 hours and 31 minutes straight. Here we go. Back to back. A Game 5. A perfect night at the office so far. After a very exciting WTL Codas afternoon as well. This man has made his debut tonight and he has played some absolutely stunning Starcraft. I've loved pretty much all of it from start to finish. It's Vitality's Ryung. And bottom left side, we're looking at the main base of the man who obviously played a great series as well, as it takes 2 to tango. Don't think the move out was necessary last game, but he went for it and he learned the hard way what we all learned in Wings of Liberty. Don't base trade the Terran. This is Trigger. Those Widowmine shots when the Zealots funneled through that natural, those were massive. The fact that there was a bunker there I think is massive. The fact that we did not have energy for a Guardian Shield was very sad. Because that force field, okay, cute and all, but a single Guardian Shield would have been fantastic. You gonna go proxy starport Hellion drop, guys? Nah. There's no SCV out on the map. Trigger is thinking about it. But that's not what it is. I mean, it's hard to trust Foxy though. As long as Foxy keeps on telling you that side delta is very bad for Terran, what do? As much as I love Matty Eyes, it's hard to trust a guy like that. The Reaper of Ryung is gonna get a couple of shots off on the probe. But the probe will live. Makes it safely home. What's our opening, Ryung? Actually kind of cool how he goes for a very early reactor. I don't know how much Trigger has seen. He hasn't seen that. But if you are Trigger and you think of the fact that the man has played 3 Rex twice, 1 time triple CC, 1 time double CC. You see this setup? I would once more worry about something along those lines. If you then suddenly get Widowmine drop, it could catch you by surprise. What the heck? Yeah, it's not just that it's a long day, Rainer. It's obviously the fact that A, it's hot. B, I've been a little bit under the weather still. Like, I actually had a bad night of sleep because I kept waking up because I was coughing. Like, I am used to 8-hour, 9-hour streams. We've done that for 10 years straight. That's not the worst thing ever. But we've had freaking long games, very action-packed games, and I had a bad night of sleep and it's hot. So I am suffering a little bit. But it's okay. I'm having a fun night. As long as the people are having fun, I'm having fun. And we're crawling closer and closer to my Twitch statues. Pokimane, I'm coming. I think Poki has all 3 statues. I've got 1. It's not that I'm sick again, Dave. It's just still the same thing from like the last 2.5, 3 weeks. It's apparently something that just doesn't really go away quickly. And some days it's better than others, but it's also hay fever season. Double Widowmine drop in the main base. Oh, we're pulling the props. What are we gonna do with those Widowmines? Can we retarget? Can we go full Lino? Retarget. I feel like the Stalker was close enough to give it a shot, but a lot of lost mining time though. This is a drop where in the past people... Oh, nice. Cute pickup with the War Prism. I like it. It's the small things in life. Ryung obviously does save one of the Widow Mines. That's pretty good. He goes back very quickly with the second. I don't even think that mine is ready to fire yet, but it is going to be ready now. Retarget on Barrow. Oh. Liquid Club. Trigger's just blinking on the other side of the map. He just wants to kill his opponent. He had enough of it, guys. Trigger is just blinking forward. That's you don't kill this. Double tank this many Marines. I don't believe it. I would focus on the defense a little bit. Trigger is now down a couple of workers. He obviously needs to start turning things around. All the turrets. That's gonna be annoying. At least the Stalker took a couple shots for the family there. Stalker was inspired by Vin Diesel. It truly is all about family. There's the War Prism with 4 Stalkers still getting some work done. It's 6 SUVs in the end. Decent, but not fantastic. Few more gateways coming online as Trigger at least has a very good idea of what he's going up against. The only problem is that what he's going up against is at the moment stronger than what he has. I'm a little worried for our Canadian. Because he is not done yet taking damage at home and it's just more lost mining time. And once or twice is not that big of a deal, but if it happens 5 or 6 times, you're really going to feel that. You guys can see that Ryung has been mining severely more than Trigger has over the last few minutes. Widowmine drop, I think got a shot off as well. Matter of fact, lives. Or maybe he didn't even fire yet and he just dropped it and he picked it up again. Thank you, Foucault Spendulum, for the 82 months. War Prism with 4 Zealots. Zealots will have charge in the near future, but they don't quite have it yet. Robo Bay is done. Trigger really can't waste too much time. He's gonna have to start firing up the Colossus because this bio army is becoming big and it means business. Excellent scan. Ryung will temporarily turn around to deal with the prism. Single zealot gets picked off. Leaves one marauder on the edge. That is a very ungrateful job. War prism shows up again. It's just buying time, and as long as we're just buying time, we're obviously kind of happy. Thank you so much, Fukol's matey, not only with the 82-month resub, but the 5 gifted subs as well. That is fantastic. As Trigger is starting to work on the command center. Halfway done. Widowmine's not burrowed. Bit of a shame. Oh, but Ryung does find a couple of the Stalkers on the retreat, but apparently Blink was ready again. Blink is always ready, kind of like a Coco recall, Coco overcharge. This War Prism, he's gonna try to save it. That doesn't work. The Marines were still in range. Second time in this series that poor Trigger recalls something that is going to die. The probe obviously wasn't that bad, but this one is worse. Even though the probe was very early. Auto turret. I mean, against a single shield battery, they probably don't really want to do it. It's actually Trigger who's running to the other side of the map. He's going to take a fight here. The tanks are not siege yet. But I'm not impressed by this Protoss army. It's tiny and doesn't have great upgrades. If the plan was to just keep Ryung at bay, sure. But other than that, we couldn't really do a whole lot more there. Trigger is going to drop a second robo. Extended Turbulence is about to finish up as he is working on +1. We are 9 minutes into post-youth. Back-to-back game 5s in the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts tonight. People were hyped after the announcement. Huh? So far, it is a night that lives up to the expectations. Couple of SCVs in the mix as well, which actually I kind of like. Can maybe build a bunker, but we can also just use it to repair the tanks. Trigger sets up a Zealot run by one with a mine apparently already fired. That's enough bio. If the Marines are just behind the Marauders, we should be okay. If the Zealots can just get on top of the Marines, it might become a bit more difficult. Another War Prism in the bottom right side. We have 2 Widow Mines, 2 tanks, and 15 Marauders. Ryung throws down a scan and he sees that Trigger is a 4-base Protoss with a cannon and a battery here. Decent Protoss army, but not mega intimidating. Are these Stalkers stuck, by the way? They should be able to just walk out here one by one, though. But yeah. War Prism continues to drop a couple Zealots. Ryung, he's gonna have to take care of it. Vikings all over it, though. Marines can maybe cut off the retreat path. And as back-to-back Prisms dying, but while this is happening, Trigger thinks it is his moment to go for it. Widowmine connects with a couple of Zealots. The Nova does not really connect. Can we gun down that Disruptor? Oh, we can. What a snipe by Ryung. But besides that, the remaining bits of Trigger's army still did pretty damn good. Stalkers all live. And losing a few Zealots to take care of tanks and Widowmines is obviously fine. Very solid fight by Trigger, even if we lost that War Prism again. It is the War Prism distraction that allows him to take a good fight there. Perhaps for the first time here in post-youth, we are starting to like it a little bit for Trigger. There's obviously still a lot of StarCraft left to be played between these two. A risky drop by Ryung. 4 medevacs full of very precious cargo have been sent out. As he throws down a scan, he sees a Disruptor being rallied to the center. That might give him some confidence that his opponent doesn't know yet, but Trigger is going to see it now. He's going to have to unload. Taking out the Pioneers though is still nice. Actually going to supply block the Canadian Protoss for a little while. Team Liquid won 6-0. Yeah, they won. That was the only boring part of the day. They were all too good. Skillas, the Cure, and Clem were all too good. Zealots and Stalkers running to the center as the observer gave Trigger the heads up that Ryung is trying to go up to 4 bases. And that's something that Trigger would absolutely love to prevent. And he's casually going to kill it, guys. Pretty big snipe. I don't think that's anything that Ryung was anticipating. There are so many Stalkers left behind. It just feels that Trigger has units everywhere. And Ryung is probably wondering, like, what the hell, mate? How many Stalkers do you have? Even though Trigger was not around in the Wings of Liberty days, he only started playing a couple years into Legacy of the Void. It seems like perhaps he is suffering from the Stalker syndrome. It was a joke during the Wings of Liberty days. The Protoss players would just max out every game on Stalker Colossus. And we thought we would always win. And eventually we realized that EMPs and Marauders are very good against it. You don't often see a Protoss max out on 26 Stalkers against the Terran. Means that taking a straight up fight is honestly going to be rather difficult for Trigger. Shout out to Beambot for the 30. What is up with the 33 months today, guys? I mean, that must mean that Max is winning this weekend in Spy. All I see is 33-month resubs over and over and over again. Written in the stars, guys. 10 grid penalty, Max still winning. You've learned it here on the Big Brain Bouts. Ryung is increasing his ghost count from 2 all the way up to 7. This Trigger is going for a tiny Zealot run-by. It's a pretty serious Zealot run-by. Ryung is all over it. I'm a little bit worried, guys, that Trigger's army in a maxed out fight is going to be really bad. He needs to slowly but steady trade out some units and get his dream army. With 25 Stalkers, we're going to have a hard time winning. Zealots and DTs run buying, that's obviously awesome. Ryung is going to go for another drop. That's the leftover drop from earlier. As Marines and Marauders are going to get on top of this Nexus. 2 DTs are going to try to buy some time. I think the Nexus... Oh, if the Marauders commit, the Nexus would have been dead. But Ryung was not paying attention. He turns around, starts battling the army. I think he could have killed that, guys. What makes a map good for TOS versus Terran? Like this map, it's normally hell for a Protoss to go up to 4 bases. It was a bit easier for Trigger, but this is just a fantastic map for drops. Oh, what the hell? These two armies just kind of moving into each other. Disrupt is mega exposed, and Ryung has learned from Cuckoo. He knows who his favorite European Terran is. Okay, it might be Liquid Clone, but Cuckoo is second. As all does Disruptors were Omega exposed, and it is a very expensive mistake by Trigger deep into game 5. Does have a Zealot and a DT run by. This game is definitely not over yet. But Trigger knows he's going to have to be a bit more careful. Going to be able to land a good Nova now. Goes for it. Ryung guns it down again. Runs away from that one as a couple of Zealots die. Battery overcharge doesn't do anything. Ryung definitely making a lot of correct choices, but Trigger still has a pretty big army. It is mostly Stalkers though. Zealots are having such a hard time making it through the front line. Oh, Nova goes into no man's land, almost blows up the Protoss army. I'm afraid that the Stalkers just suck here. It is landed Vikings, it's Marauders, it's Ghost with 2 upgrades against 2-1 Stalkers. And the Stalker syndrome has taken another victim, as it is so incredibly hard to win late game fights against the Terran. Only a 50 army supply in Stalkers. Ryung has played one hell of a series here on his debut in the Big Brain Bouts. Still obviously needs to show some respect to the 3 Disruptors that are there. There's a few more Stalkers get warped in. Trigger's trying to buy some time for the extra Colossus. But it really does not seem that this best of 5 is going to go the way of the young Canadian. Instead it will go to the veteran from Korea. Welcome Ryung to the BASILISK Big Brain Bouts. And what a series. Honestly, very well done. Kudos, played a stunning series, I can't say anything else. Obviously, painful moment for Trigger to lose all those Disruptors there in the center of the map towards the very end. But Ryung just played awesome. Really sharp, was quick, feel like he had excellent game sense. Kudos. That means it is now time for Future versus Ryung. Should be Future versus Sue, not Ryung. I'm sorry guys, I'm losing it. I hope that Sue is actually here. Thank you so much, Basilisk, for the 10 gifted subbies. I mean, they signed up to play at 3 and it's now almost 4. So I do really hope that Sue is here. But Sue is a warrior of the night. He's a legend. I hope he's here. We'll figure it out. Roddy, I know you don't keep it political, but do you shower when you wake up or before you go to bed? Mate, shocking announcement. You may never look at me the same way again, but both. I shower in the morning and I shower at night. Yes, I am the reason that the climate is warming up. You can blame me. I am responsible for all of it. They are not very long, I promise, but yes, every day. I have no choice. I feel dirty when I wake up, and if I don't shower before I go to bed, I can't sleep. Proof? Alright, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. on my second channel, the RotterdaM. 69% of you guys believed that Ryung was going to win the series, and Ryung did win the series. Complete prediction. GG. The third series of the night. Let's hope our gamers are here, because I know it's incredibly late over in South Korea. I thought, honestly, we were going to start a little bit earlier. Since, you know, first match was Coco versus Lino. I was like, how long can those games really go? Well, everything is going long tonight. I hope he's here. I mean, the boys can just send it. If they end up all-inning each other a bunch of times in this best of 5, I completely respect the hustle. And I totally get it. Future is at least ready. I don't quite see Sue yet, but I hope he's coming. Perhaps he's in the game. Who knows? I'm going to take a couple minutes time. Couple minutes, guys. And hopefully by the time that I come back, we have found a Sue. See you guys real soon. I don't know, Bully. I don't know.